Hello, and welcome back here to the Brick World, to an update at a place where we haven't been for a very long time. And that is the place right here in front, the building here in beige, this tan-colored building. This is a law firm with apartments above it, and there is a huge gap inside because a large piece is missing here. It goes all the way down the gap. And today we finally want to continue building so that the building will be completed in the foreseeable future. That means first we take everything down. And then we start building everything that is still needed from the bottom up, step by step. So definitely stay tuned. And as promised, here you see all the individual modules that I have now removed. The somewhat complicated thing about this building is that it consists of many different modules, because it wasn't so easy to make it so that each floor is its own module. In principle, there were 3 of us. The modules per floor, which are also of different heights, are a bit complicated, but you can already see that here in the basic design on the ground floor, because here, this is what it currently looks like down here. As mentioned, a lot is still missing here. Especially here in the back area, the 2 rooms, or rather 3 rooms, because there's also a small toilet included here. We definitely want to finish these today. Add all the other missing details so that the ground floor is finally complete for the very first time. For this, I am currently building these bookshelves, among other things. File shelves, whatever you call them, it's the same technique as always. It's basically just placed here now, also underneath. The advantage is that it simply looks like there are various file folders, books, or whatever inside. And the whole thing will then be placed approximately at this spot here. It also fits well against the wall and suits the place, because the right room is supposed to be a kind of small area where files are placed, where you can look things up, where perhaps a few legal texts are lying around and the like. You can already see a small desk here, and this is the toilet. Another room in the brick world that will never be seen from the outside again because it has no window. Nevertheless, I have furnished it as nicely as I could simply because I know it's there. And we definitely need it. We will continue building here, and then we will build this lounge area on the left. And then we will also continue building the staircase upwards. Complicated because everything has relatively little space for my hands. But you can see here how I am usually here working. In theory, one could remove the module, but I don't want to, as it complicates reinstallation. It's much more complicated than just working a bit from up here. I can kneel on the river here, and from there I can get relatively close. That's definitely enough to be able to continue working there. This is how it looks from the inside now. A lot of time has gone into it, especially building the stairs here. That was relatively complicated. But now we are at the right spot. Everything fits together as it should. And here you can see at the back, this is the area that I mentioned here. I have used different tiles there now. On one hand, printed tiles from one of my partners, Trix Bricks. A new resident is in here. You get 1194 residents there. Now here, and here you can see a shelf and a small table. So, everything you need. And with that, the room is finished. The small toilet room is also finished. That means we now turn our attention to this room on the right. From the outside, you don't see much because the windows are relatively darkened with these dark blue blinds, if you want to call them that. But nevertheless, we also make sure that everything inside, as always, is fully finished in my project. And then we will now finish the room at the front right away. And with that, the ground floor is finally finished. Up front here, it was relatively complicated because with both staircases going up here, I can barely get my hand in. I added another figure here, bringing us to 1195 minifigures in the city now. And this lounge area is now pretty much finished. We now have a small table here, which is relatively hard to see. Underneath this staircase, there's still a table with a few chairs. Here is the coffee kitchen area, which we already had before. And on the left, I added a small table. And otherwise, here on the ground floor, everything is finished enough that we can say check it off. The first floor is done, and we can now move on to placing the next module on top. But before that, I'll show you again how it looks from the front now, because you won't see it like this for much longer. So I thought I'd take the moment to show you how it looks here at the front. The entrance area of our office, which is, by the way, a patent law firm, and yes, this is how it looks now. I'm relatively satisfied, and I also like it in terms of color. I'm very satisfied that I managed to get the staircase done properly, or rather both staircases. We already had the left one before, but this middle staircase was a bit complicated in between. But in the end, everything fits together. All the little details I wanted to incorporate are in there. And now we'll take the next module for the top, specifically the one in the front area. We'll place it on top now just to see how the whole thing looks. And I'll definitely continue building a bit more right away. But as I'm sitting here now, you can see that these aren't complete floors. I designed it a bit differently than usual. I would probably do it differently today if I were to build it all over again, because it's a bit complicated to handle. But in the end, the final result is what counts, and I'll continue working on it a bit more here. Here, it's all a bit poorly resolved because I placed the cables in here back then. This is a distributor. As always, of course, the lighting system from my lighting partner, Illuminate Your Brick World. But I want to hide everything a bit here. So I thought we could just build a cabinet here to hide all the cables inside. Then it's nicely hidden, and the whole thing looks like this. You now see this cabinet in reddish brown, and you see that you see nothing. You have different tiles on the floor. We have everything in here now. The cable goes up here to the next connector. And on the other side, I've also finished this small waiting area. Another minifigure sitting here on the couch on the sofa. This brings the population to 196 in the entire city. And in the next update, we'll continue here as we still need to complete this area, the next office. There I need to think a bit about how I want to design it. We already have the office here, which was created a long time ago. It will probably look a bit similar, but then we'll make the second office. Then we'll have that finished too, and then this module at the front will also be complete. And then we can take care of completing the rear area as well. This is how it looks now when we put everything together. You can now also see very nicely how the two modules interact. Regarding this staircase here, so to speak, this entrance area, you can nicely look down from above and also see light from below. It's all just as I imagined it. And now, of course, it's even a bit better because all the detailed work, all the final elements are slowly coming together. And it's simply progressing well. I am confident that this building will also be completed in the foreseeable future. In the next update, when it comes to this, we will add this here so that we can also complete the first floor, the first story up here. That means, as I said, finishing the office and then everything back here. I'm not entirely sure what else will be added there. It's still relatively empty. You can, as always, feel free to write in the comments what else could be added back here. Could be done. There's not much space. Maybe 1 or 2 more offices for employees. As I said, feel free to write that in the comments. Otherwise, work will surely continue soon at the train station and in various other places. I want to make some progress here in Brickworld again, and that's why I thought we would finally start working on the building again today so it can finally be completed. I know many have been waiting for it, and yes, today it continued. Surprise, surprise. And then we'll see each other here again soon in Brickworld. Goodbye.